Today we'll continue lesson 7 cyber ethics. So today we'll discuss the topic open source model. See, in the open source model encourages collaborative participation, transparency, meritocracy, and community oriented development, where programmers publish their versions of the software back to the community. So in this group of members work and participate their contribution in the development of the open source model software. So this model encourages the transparency and this is a community oriented development means many persons are working together in the development of the open source software, and the programmers publish their version of the software back to the community means the developed software in which they have done the development, they they so that developed software they return to the community, and the new one is also the open source software. So the OSI Open Source Initiative organization outlines the following criteria for a program to qualify for an open source software. So what are the characteristics for open source software? That is a free redistribution. So a open source software shall have no restrictions on the sale. Means uh, in open source software, we don't need the permission for its sale or distribution of the software, partial or whole, and such as the sale be free of any royalties or any other fees. We even cannot charge the royalty for the open source software. Source code means the distributed program, the software which you are distributing must include the source code as well as its compiled form also. In cases where it is not included, the source code must be easily accessible from public sources on the internet. So if you're not providing its a source code along with the software, so you have to make that software source code available on the internet. So derived work. So the license must allow the modification and derived works. It must allow them to be distributed under the same terms as the license of the original software. So the software which is derived from the open source that also can be distributed under the same conditions under the same license of the original software. Integrity of the author's source code. So the integrity of the author's source code must be maintained. So the license may require the derived works to carry a different name or version number from the original software. So the integrity of the source code should be maintained means in this the development which you done in the open source code may carry a different name, or also if that is the same name, so you have to write the different version, the updated version. You have to write the new version name. No discrimination against persons or groups. So the license must not discriminate against any persons or group of persons. So that license is for all. Either that person belongs to a research field, either a person belongs to a business field. No discrimination against fields of endeavor. So the license must not restrict anyone for making the use of the program in a specific field of endeavor. For example, it may not restrict the program for being used in a business or for a genetic research. So, discrimination on the basis of the fields cannot be done in the open source software. Distribution of license. Here, the rights attached to the program must apply to all. The program has to be redistributed without the need for the execution of an additional license by those parties. Next is the license must not be specific to a product. So all the parties to whom an extracted program is distributed to should have the same right as those has obtained the original software distribution. So, so license is not as specific to a particular product to any person. All parties to whom you are extracting the program means you are distributing the program. They also have the same rights. Those who are uh, taking the program from you, they also have the same rights to redistribute it. License must not restrict the other software. So the license must not place the restrictions on the another software that is distributed along with the licensed software. For example, the license must not insist that all other programs distributed on the same medium must be the open source software. So this software, open source software does not restrict the other software. So if the you are using any other software with the help of the or along with the this open source software, so it does not restrict that other software which you are using that must be also open source. So license must be the technology neutral. No provision of the license may be dependent on any individual technology or style of the interface. So the open source software should not be uh, dependent on any particular technology. It should be neutral to the technology, so that open source software can be used on any technology on any interface. Next is the free and open source software. So this type of software is both free and open source software called FOSS. The terms of the license for this type of software allow it to freely used. You can use it freely, you can copy it, you can study it and modify it, and the source code is openly shared so that the people are encouraged to improve and debug the software. Next is the open source licenses. So open source licenses. So about the open source license we'll study in the next class. So this is all for today. Thank you for your kind attention.